1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war. Hello, willkommen, bienvenue. It's time for the Amish Inquisition, episode 339 on, not Sunday, Tuesday. Tuesday, the 6th of August, 2024. I'm Phil.
I'm not.
You're Ryan. You're Ryan 7.
I am.
How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. I'm not Amish Ryan.
Not yet, hey.
Not
Might
yet.
convert you.
Slowly but surely.
Might convert
I'm going to
you.
get that one beard that they all have there and no mustache.
Yeah, they're not allowed mustache because of military connotations, apparently.
Is that right?
Apparently that's the reason they have the old chin strap.
I thought they just drank a lot of milk and you'd get, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You need it smooth so it goes back in the mouth.
Especially the kind of milk they'll drink.
Yeah, the raw,
It'll be
straight from the teat. Yeah.
Yeah. Underneath the cow like that.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking cow.
Proper sticky stuff like this. I mean, the stuff we get in the shop's just white water, essentially.
It is,
I think.
isn't it? Especially the green milk.
Yeah.
Red milk. That's even worse. What's the point?
Red top.
Yeah, red top. We're not on Star Wars. It's not the actual blue
I was
milk.
going to say that.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Luke
not that blue.
Skywalker.
We forget about that one.
Milk in that space.
Oh, dear.
Space hippopotamus.
Space hippopotamus.
Something like that. I think. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Ryan. We have a reason, in particular reason for you coming tonight, and that's because you've just launched your Kickstarter campaign for your tarot, or your tarot apparel.
Yes, lots of things. There's a whole host of magical equipment.
It is equipment.
It is equipment. I've been struggling for a name for it all. So in the cards, you have the aces, what would be clubs and diamonds and hearts, etc. And in tarot, those have symbols, which are the wand, the cup, coins, and a sword. So I thought I would make something cool and sell those alongside them. So I've made myself a wand, a cup, a sword, etc. They look really cool too. I would have brought them, but they keep getting damaged. I've only got one functioning one of each now.
Yeah, it's not a good time to be walking around streets with your sword.
No, it's not. It is made of resin and it's not sharp, but yeah.
You could probably
Difficult times.
poke someone
Yeah.
with it.
Nastily.
Yeah.
Maybe annoy somebody until they do something stupid. That might work.
Draw a card. Draw a card.
Gambit. Trying to set them on fire and throw the cards.
And I noticed just going to the four items the resin items you're making, they're very vivid colours.
Yeah.
And I presume those colours aren't chosen randomly.
No, yeah, those are the colours of the four elements. The four suits are the four elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And then that symbology extrapolates then into the wand, the cup. It's like the wand would be like energy, the masculine principle. It's rather like a phallus.
Yeah.
But you think wand, you think energy coming out at the end of a wand. So mine's kind of like melting at the end. There's a few little effects on there. And a cup would be the female principle that contains the energy. So,
A vessel.
Yes. Sword is much like the intellect. Let me wind back a little bit. The wand is of willpower. The cup is of mind and emotion. The state that you're in, the cup that you belong in. Swords are like the intellect, which cuts up the universe. So words are swords, famously. And they cut up the universe. So swords got two edges to it. And coins are like most things on the earth embodied go through cycles. They're born, they live, they die. They call it cardinal, fixed, and mutable in astrology. And coins represent that. It's like money. Money's worth the work that you put into it, but then once it's spent, it's gone, but it cycles around again for the next person to use.
Ah, right. So like in the world of work, currency is you're essentially exchanging your energy for the material
Yeah, for
thing.
that token.
Or a store. People talk about a store of value.
Yeah.
So gold is a store of value,
Exactly.
or property, or whatever.
Well, gold's one kind because it's actually worth something. There's a market for it. But then you got coins and denominations, which, okay, coins used to be worth what was in them, which was more sensible. But now we kind of have a magic spell where we do a song and a dance over a note and put all these little sigils on there. And now it's worth something. It's a promissory note, really.
Tokens.
Yes, a token.
Token,
Yeah. The first apparently were used by followers of Juno at the Temple of Juno, and they would rather than have a sacrifice, rather than bring something to be sacrificed, you would pay money and the priest would have a sacrifice for you.
Right, do it on your own behalf.
Yeah, so these tokens.
Right, cool. T-shirts I saw.
Yes, with a logo on there. There's cool boxes. There's one box that opens with a magnetic ring for a bit bigger than the tarot cards. You put your tarot cards in, folds up. You wave your hand across the top magically, grab it, pull the top off, and the sides fall down, so you can do yourself a tarot reading, Celtic cross or whatever.
I was going to say it did look like a cruciform type thing.
Yeah.
It's like an oblong box. Is it oblong? Yeah.
Yeah. It's not quite cube. You'd want it to be a black cube, but because of the shape of the tarot cards,
black cubes.
it wasn't like that. Well, yeah, literally a Saturnian black cube.
Yeah,
it was meant to be. It's not necessarily a dark thing.
Well, these things are polar, aren't they? A lot of these things it's how they're wielded.
Oh, that's anything. Any technology of man, it's how you wield it. It's up to you. Yeah. It's the old gun thing, isn't it? You can be used to kill somebody or defend yourself.
Yeah. The power is in the... well, it's like a speech.
Yeah.
There's certain words are, what would you say? Not politically correct isn't really strong enough, but it's the not the motivation, but it's the meaning behind them. Like you can call your mate the most heinous name under the sun.
Yeah.
But it's intention.
Yes.
That's the word I'm looking for. It's the intention that counts. Or it used to. Not really
Yeah,
anymore.
everything gets twisted now, doesn't it? Yeah, we're a world of too many words, I think. And
well, it's like, and this is where things like spelling comes from, doesn't it? And spells, and it's not just the words; it's the intention behind them. And
yeah. Well, I mean, a
practices.
spell is something repeated over and over again. That's what a spell is until it becomes true. Sounds like propaganda to me.
Yeah.
If you repeat the same thing over and over again, you immerse society in that thing.
Goebbels.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been going on a lot recently. There's been a certain label thrown out to people over and over and over again. You know the one? Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Goebbels.
Yeah.
I think it was Goebbels. Am I getting I always get Goebbels and Goering mixed up. No, Goering was the head of the Luftwaffe, wasn't he? Goebbels was your propaganda man, and he famously had a vast occult library.
Yep. The Germans at the time were obsessed with the occult, and so the Nazi Party arose in that environment. Well, wasn't it the Thule Society that kind of... Yeah.
Thule.
Yeah, that was a word for the Force, basically, to the Germans. It had come from a science fiction novel about an underground world where they used this energy from the earth. Thule.
Wow.
Vril, it was called as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's another name.
The Vril Society.
The Vril Society, yeah. And there was English connections to all these as well.
Is there?
I'm sure there is.
Well, it's shared history, isn't it? You know, we're all Germanic, really.
That would be a good rabbit hole to dive down, the Thule Society.
Oh, it is. It ends up in the Arctic and, you know, all that stuff. Very interesting.
One of a guy who was on my list, my podcast guest list for years, Gerard. Oh, my God. I'm blanking on his surname. He wrote the book with Wolf in the title. Oh, my gosh. And it was made into a TV series. It was like the Nazi Hunter book.
Right. Cool.
Gerard. Oh, it's gone. I've got it on the shelf somewhere. But he passed away like 2 years ago.
Oh, right.
So that opportunity went. He's moved on to the next adventure. But yeah, that's quite... You know, modern history isn't usually kind of my thing, really, but when you start mixing occult practices and military intelligence, and then, Aleister Crowley might be in the mix, and Secret Agent 666 and all this, it's like, wow, this is so fascinating. Yeah,
the whole thing's really fun. Like I said, especially when it ends up in the Arctic and Operation High Jump and all that stuff. We're going well away from tarot here, by the way.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought me and Phil would just sit down and start chatting poo?
So, you mentioned before we started streaming that these cards, which were prototypes, are like nearly 10 years old.
Yeah.
This is how long you've been working on this project.
Yeah, so I'd done an original version about 10 years ago, and by the time I got to the end of it, I had these produced because I'd done a Kickstarter once before.
Right.
but then changed my mind totally, and I was like, I don't want to release them. They're not quite ready, and I need a break. And that break turned into about 5 years, and I carried on studying the tarot and started to make more discoveries within that time. So famously, I found that pattern that I'm always gibbering on about. There's a pattern hidden in a lot of occult works, which has all these special measurements in there, numbers that you might have heard of in religious books like 108 and 432 and 216. And I found the reason for the pattern itself, and where the pattern's located. You find it in the plans of Stonehenge, in the pyramids. I found it on cave walls. You find it in all the best tarot decks. The other day I found it in the works of Goya. The Saturn
everybody that I used to know. That guy.
No. He does this every time, Phil. He has a sings a song to me, and then I just look at him and go, no. He's got a good voice, though.
The works of Goya, he was a painter, no?
He was. He famously did the black paintings. I just said Saturn devouring his children. It's pretty gory.
Really?
He does a series of ones with witches as well, all flying in circles and the strange looking things. And I could see all these angles in there. So like, I bet this is drawn with that pattern. So it's essentially a 14-sided shape. You pop it over the top of it, and everything just works out nicely.
Imagine if you looked at a lot of Renaissance, like Raphael and Leonardo, the two big ones, probably Mickey as well.
Yeah.
Mikey.
I've not checked Mikey, but Leonardo definitely. I tend to, rather than think, oh, an artist, I am just usually doing research on something else, and I'll see a painting, and my eyes is used to seeing what that pattern will do and what those angles are roughly, and it's like a pattern recognition thing for me now. When I go back to finishing the book that I've been writing, I'm definitely going to do a chapter on artists that have used the pattern. I found it in American Gothic the other day, the famous painting with the old American couple. One's got a pitchfork.
That's
in
right.
front of it. Yeah, I found it on that.
Wow.
Yeah,
And that's more recent.
yeah, it's quite. I think it's like the 40s, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little earlier, 20s maybe.
Cool.
Yeah, I just looked at it. I thought these are very Saturnian themes going on. A man with a pitchfork, everyone's dressed in black. Age, you know.
That guy's. You see, off memory, I think that guy's pitchfork is straight up north-south perpendicular. But is it?
It is. Yeah.
It's not at that angle.
No, it's
that
not
magic
at an
angle.
Yeah,
23.5 degrees.
Yeah,
Which is the average angle of the tilt of the Earth on its axis.
spot on.
In relation to the ecliptic, the
Yes.
galactic ecliptic.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is why we have seasons and all sorts of. I mean, it's one of the reasons for life and why we're here. Probably for someone, if you
no, totally.
assuming you believe that it's all round and that it goes around the sun and all the rest of it. But you know,
Each
that's
to their
just the
own.
way. Yeah, we don't judge here.
I do. Goddamn nutcases.
Don't alienate half our audience, Ryan.
Well, I'm about to do a tarot reading, so I kept thinking, what was Mystic Meg like?
Oh, yeah.
Other than annoying, I can't really remember any catchphrases. Or she'd come on like this, and I'm a bit of a cockney, but not quite.
Didn't she used to come on when it was the National Lottery?
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes before the lottery draw.
I'm doing a thing now, and you're going to see a camel in your future.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember much. I was only a kid. I reckon I was like 10, 11 when National Lottery started.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Mystic Meg.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, she might have been on Big Breakfast or something.
It was a big deal at the time, though, having only 4 channels.
Yes, and it was a big deal having an ogre on TV. On TV? Because we only had Russell Grant.
I was going to say Russell Grant. He's strange, man. He reminded me of a sweaty teddy bear.
Yeah.
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 That was definitely, that's an impression as a child, a sweaty teddy bear.
I just think sparkly.
Yeah.
Sparkles and...
This week we're going to do some... I can't do an impression of a man I can't remember.
No, He's still going.
Is he?
He's still going. Yeah, and I'm sure Mystic Meg's going as well still.
She was old back then, though. Really?
but
Mystic Meg's still going?
She's fucking immortal. Oh. How's Mystic Meg going to die? She'll see it happening before it happens. Like,
well, but it's still inevitable. Maybe we should be well prepared for it.
Is it inevitable?
Well, here's the thing. Do we believe in telling the future or not? I tell you what. So I do this. I was saying to Phil before this began that because there are lots of scientific things in my discoveries in the tarot in general, I tend to not openly do tarot readings because obviously it's a bit woo and do you believe in all that stuff? And certainly before I do a tarot reading, I always say to people, it's not reading the future, this. It's just we're trying to work out the present. And it's you can see it as a psychological evaluation. It's therapy, Phil. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm through.
However, I have had instances where weird things have gone on, and I can't deny that. I can't verify it scientifically, and I certainly don't go to people saying, I'll do you a tarot reading, I'm a psychic. Nothing like that.
No.
However, things do happen. For example, I was at this party in Bristol, and I happened to have them with me because I study them when I'm on the train or whatever. And so I said, yeah, I'll do you guys a reading. And so I was doing it, and I just remember saying right at the beginning, oh, it's like, it's hard to say, but it's like you've had cancer or something like that, and then you've gotten rid of it by just completely sorting yourself out, like by not giving up, by changing your diet and changing your health and your exercise. And the guy, as soon as I said that, stood up and walked out the room for a cry because he just got over cancer by doing that.
Oh my gosh!
So things like that happen quite often.
Things like that can happen. You know, I'm not. I won't call myself like a wooey person. But I don't underestimate the power of things like the subconscious and psychology, Jungian archetypes, all these things that maybe are working on us that we're not aware of all the time.
Yes.
And that through meditation practices or introspection, things like this, things can be pulled apart in certain ways that maybe you wouldn't know if you didn't sort of take that time in your day waking life, you know. I don't think it's woo. And I think the symbols are powerful, and they affect you on your psyche. Yes, you know
they are pulled from psyche.
And as far as psychics go, I
don't know either.
I don't know.
It's lots of things happen to me all the time, but I just don't know.
Synchronicities is another thing Carl Jung talked about. You know, what's that?
I'm a great one for remote viewing, but I mean, I do lots of woo things. But I don't go around claiming them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going, I'm a woo person. Let's do this now. Though I have been doing a lot of Tai Chi and Qigong and the more martial meditations, and stuff's happening again. Remember I was talking about having a green hand and all. Do you remember that?
Green hand?
Yeah. When so you can do attached to some of the Eastern martial arts is energy work. So, which is essentially alchemy. So I was doing that for a while, and you do kind of charge up like a battery. And this one night, my friend said to me, your hand's gone green. I looked at my hand, and it looked like, because it was dark, it looked like my left hand just had a green aura around it.
Oh, I do remember. It's coming back to me now. Yeah.
Nothing else happened. It just...
Was there something about vibration as well?
Yeah, it was literally vibrating.
Yeah.
I thought it was my eyeballs going weird at first, but then I'm looking at it. No, my hand's actually vibrating. As we said, we put it to use that night. As you would. So,
what do you want to do? Do you want to crack on with the tarot, or do you want to talk some more about the Kickstarter? All the links are in the show notes, by the way, if you want to support Ryan's project. And there's various ways of doing it, various tiers. You don't even have to sort of pledge to buy something. You can just chuck a $5.
Yeah.
And these things only work when people pull the finger out and actually do them.
Apparently everything comes towards the end. I've had loads of scammers as well.
Have you?
I've had there's been £20,000 in there. When did that come in there? Oh,
really?
Do you want your marketing doing? No, mate, I don't want my marketing doing. £20,000 is gone. So yes, it's a bit of a minefield of scam artists.
What date does it finish?
I can't remember.
It's about 2 weeks, I think, isn't it?
It's just over 2 weeks. I think 13 days.
Right. So you need to
It's
get
going
on
to be
it.
jam packed. Yes, you need to get on it. So what is the? I could tell you what the tarot is beforehand. Look,
Yeah.
it's the keys to religions. It's this. Society has a foundation that we're not often told about. It's called the occult. It's the summation of all the religions and all the philosophies of old, and all the best stuff was kept over time. It was put into the occult. It was put into magic, and it survives via these cards. You could literally take the same secrets in those cards are in the book of coming forth by day, the book of the dead in Egypt. It's the same. So you can decode the Bible. Once you understand these symbols, you can decode the Bible. You can decode the Quran. You can decode Buddhist teachings. You can decode the Vedas. It's literally the way to gain the ears to hear and the eyes to see, which is understanding things symbolically, and also understanding that all the religious books, their root symbology is astrotheology.
Right.
And then that astrotheology then is symbolic of your body, what your body's capable of. For example, something I've been thinking about today, and I'm probably going to do a podcast on it soon. So Sator Aripo Tenet Opera Rotas is famously on a square, a Mithraic square. And you can say that in lots of different directions. Those words are also used for the 5 wounds of Jesus. 2 on his hands.
Stigmata.
Yeah, the stigmata on his feet, on his head, and in
The
his
spear.
liver. Yeah, his spear thing at the
On
end.
the side, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when I'm looking at energy stuff in China, Qigong just means like energy work. Chi's the energy, Chi's the force. So when you see them doing Tai Chi in the park and that, they're kind of moving this energy around, and some of it's, for some of them, they do it in their imagination, but I've been practicing it for a while now, and there's definitely like a hard stone just under my belly button, what they call it, the lower dantian. Wow. There's certain techniques for, like, you basically put your intention and your energy there when you're meditating, and you just kind of feel it charge up. Because normally your consciousness is in you. Look, anyone can do this. You're not aware of your hand right now, but if I say put your concentration on your right hand, suddenly you can feel tingly and you can feel the air moving past it, and you can feel sensations there. Well, you do that to a space about 3 fingers below your belly button and quite deep inside your body, and it just seems to charge up. Mine's permanently now like tense, that area. Apparently there's lots more. I've got to do it for about a year, but there's lots of stages to go through, and then eventually they start moving chi around the body, which is, and I've seen it and I've felt it. I've not felt it from a master, but I have felt it. And it's like it moves your muscles for you. It's strange. I don't quite understand it. It's about as woo as you can get, really, but that's what I'm training in. And I'm definitely feeling that. It can't be woo if I'm feeling it.
Is there anything particularly special about that place anatomically?
So
below the belly button.
Here's well, it's your center of gravity, especially for a lady. A center of gravity, like everything compounds there. So I think there's like a meta thing. So in the Chinese arts, in Taoism particularly, they call it the lower dantian, or the lower elixir field. It's like a field of a green field that you sow with these seeds, which is your intention going on there. That's your seed sowing, and then hopefully something will grow. So it's symbolized by a shaft of wheat on a field, in the, I don't know what it's called in China, the characters. Kanji? No, kanji's Japan. So we have the same thing in the Western tradition. The signs of the zodiac, are down the body, and Virgo's there. Virgo holds a shaft of wheat. So we have the same thing in the Western tradition, and that's in alchemy. Alchemy is not turning lead into gold at all. It's doing this energy work. Well, it's also in these as well. It's also in the tarot too. So I said Sator, Aripo, Tenet, Opera Rotas. These are the points for Qi Gong where the energy seems to come out. So kidneys particularly, but liver, the soles of your feet, and the 2 centers of your palms as well.
Right.
And obviously you got your third eye, which is your crown,
Forehead,
where
yeah.
Jesus gets the crown of
Crown of
thorns put on there.
thorns.
So just something I'm noticing. I'm not 100% sure about that, but
And interestingly, I'm not like an expert on Rome, but nailing was a particular choice for him. If we accept the story as historically accurate or not,
yeah,
most people just rope them up.
yeah.
So the nailing,
Well, I've shown in the iconography on previous episodes of this that they're all the icons are mushroom shaped, particularly psilocybin semilanciata shaped. Now, semilanciata means a short lance as well, and he was stabbed in the side with a short lance.
Lance of Longinus.
Yeah. Odin too was stabbed in the liver in that same place when he was hung on the tree. They're both representing Cygnus. Excuse me. At that time, yeah, Cygnus is a swan constellation with its wings out. You can see that's a man stretched out.
Right.
It's at the top of the Milky Way, which is the tree, and it's long. But again, all these things are in the tarot. There's a card called the Hangman, which is literally he's Odin, he's Cygnus, he's the man on the tree with being stabbed in the side.
Right. Difference being he's usually upside down, isn't he? And he's doing a weird thing with one leg.
Yeah, that's because swans rest the leg like that when they're tired.
Do they?
Yeah, they rest the leg on the back.
Wow.
That's
I didn't
cool,
know
isn't it?
that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I had a strange experience with some swans. I might have told you this story before, but I'll tell it again. So when I was first making these cards, I'd gone to my mother's house on a Sunday, and to keep myself young and fit, I often, as I have tonight, I'll walk somewhere rather than get in the car. So I'd somehow for some reason I was already at my mother's, and it was an 8-hour walk home. So I was like, I'm still gonna do it anyway.
Oh, God.
And at one point, right near the end of the journey, the sun's going down, and there's a canal. And I see a mummy swan and daddy swan and all these little cygnets. And there was this canal barge coming down the canal, like, lady's like, hey, I'm really enjoying my pims. I'm not looking where I'm going. And I'm like, she's going to smash into these cygnets, the poor little things. And then this is happening as I'm going over the bridge, and I couldn't see what was going on for a minute, just as the boat was about to hit all the swans and that. I'm like, it's a very charged event, this. And then I got over to the other side of the bridge, and I looked over, and the swans were fine. They'd all just kind of caught the front of the bow. They knew exactly what was going on and just surfed it off, and they were fine. And the people on the boat knew it would be fine. The swans knew it would be fine. I didn't. And one of the main reasons why I was concerned was because it looked like Mummy Swan on a gammy leg, and it was on her back, all crippled up.
Mm.
But so I'd been studying the Hangman at this point, but I didn't know what the hell constellation it was, because it's a bit of a secret what constellation they are. And I'm like, that was a very charged event. I wonder if it's got anything to do with this bloody tarot card I'm working on. Lo and behold, Cygnus, the swan, other pieces of evidence that I got that the Hangman was Cygnus. We've just said he was Odin. When you see images of Mjolnir, which is an upside down hammer mushroom, it's Odin is on there as well at the hilt of the hammer, and the hammer's at this point is representing the universe like a toroid, and Odin's puking it up as a swan. Odin is a swan, puking it up, it becomes Mjolnir the hammer, and that's in a lot of them.
Wow.
You know, when people have a pendant, most of the time it's got Odin puking up the universe as a swan.
That's another great example of a synchronicity, though.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
something. It's like the world will just throw you the answer sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's attention. If anything seems to be guiding it, it is attention. In this Tai Chi stuff that I'm learning, they say the attention guides the Chi, the energy.
I have to say hello to you, Ryan. Occult Examiner says, say hello to Ryan. Hope the deck goes well.
Spot on.
And we've got a super chat as well from QTrax100. Thanks for the super chat, QTrax. You'll get a producer credit in the episode next week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bonus.
So, shall we do it?
Shall we do a tarot reading then?
Or shall we talk some more about tarot?
Well, we can do a reading then talk more about tarot.
Yeah, I'm game. I should say, full disclosure, I've never had a tarot reading done before. I've never even seen one
Done.
So I have no idea what's going to happen
So
or what I'm supposed to do.
You're not supposed to do anything. Sit back and enjoy it.
I can do that.
If anything just comes up, I think it might be this, and you feel comfortable about talking to it, just talk about it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you can do as you please. So we said we'd do a general broadcast reading.
Yes. What's the procedure?
So there are many spreads available that we could do.
Right.
There's a classic one. There's like a Celtic cross. So you put 2 in the center, and then you put 4 around it. We can do this. See, I've done it. Although I would prefer that you pick the cards out. Really.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
In a moment, you can shuffle the cards and do it. So, in theory, what is tarot doing when you fortune telling? Well, one might say that you are simply logging into the right brain and kind of pattern recognizing and just kind of pulling something out of the ether and doing it that way. You might also say you're literally just left braining it and going for the logic and putting all the elements of these cards together in a cocktail combination. Yeah. Fortune tellers would say it's the sorties, the sortidic magic, which is the magic of randomness. So, for example, right, to talk about randomness, this combination of these cards, the way these are shuffled, has never. It's beyond astronomical. There are more combinations of these cards than there are atoms in the universe by a long.
Whoa!
By a long shot.
Hang on, you have to say that again.
There are more combinations of these cards than there are atoms in the universe.
Right.
By a long way.
So that means that when you shuffle a deck, it is insanely random.
There's insanely random
way of predicting what is going to come out.
No. And by that chaos, something of infinity is able to insert itself into the cards, and then now we get our synchronicities and whatever else. Another way of looking at it might be, if I was clairvoyant, I am able to put myself in something of a trance state, enter what somebody might call the Akasha, or you just enter in the force and able to pull it all down.
Channel something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's me reading your body language and subtle cues to
like a Darren Brown sort of
thing.
technique.
Yeah. I don't know which of these it is. I certainly feel like it's all of them. I don't know. I'm a human being. I've got no way of telling you.
No.
I've been thinking. People keep asking me if I'm a Gnostic or a Christian or an atheist or whatever recently, and I've not known what I am. But I'm starting to. I've always said I don't knowist. I've got no idea, and I think I ultimately always say that. But I've caught myself behaving as if I'm believing in something. I'm not quite sure what that something is.
Right.
Something of the universe is one. That kind of a.
Oh yes, I can feel that. That what were we talking about the other week? Oh, it was on Sunday. We were talking about this.
Right.
I can't remember under what sort of pretense we were talking about it, but yeah, this sort of universal oneness. Oh, I was saying it. Everything's connected.
Yes.
Not just like you and me in this room.
No. Every
atom in the universe is connected. We're seeing weird things with quantum physics, like quantum entanglement.
Have you seen that yin yang of they found an entangled particle? Not found one, but managed to photograph one. They managed to view one, and it looks exactly like that. It looks. You probably can't see it there. It's a yin yang.
Yin yang, and
it looks exactly like a yin yang.
The dots of the other particle inside each other.
The other,
it's mind blowing.
It is mind blowing.
But,
what's that? Is that the collective unconscious able to read? Is it just coincidence? Who knows?
I'm not a big believer in coincidences.
Not like that.
No.
But again, it's the same as this dichotomy of reasons why tarot does its thing. I am equally woo, not woo. I don't believe in it, do believe in it. I've got no idea. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of envy people with unshakable faith in something, because I'm in the same boat as you, I think.
Yeah.
In that I just don't know. So I suppose I'm technically an agnostic, but I do I sort of lean towards a divine realm or a creative force.
Yes.
Not necessarily the way we anthropomorphize gods and deities and that sort of thing.
Not that. Certainly not that.
But I do wonder if there is some sort of design.
Well, I behave as if there is.
Yeah.
I've caught myself doing it. It's not like I'm saying, "Oh, I'm going to behave as if God's real, just in case," or something like that. No, I'm literally talking about when I examine myself and catch myself having thoughts, or I've got to do this or I've got to do that. There's like destiny and things like that attached to it. So if that's the case, then destiny for what? Some cosmic hierarchy, clearly. Plus, my endeavors into all this energy work in the martial arts stuff is ultimately because I would like to prove to myself, and if I prove it to myself, to other people, that there is something else that the human body can do with the force, as it were. I do believe in that. I've seen the dudes doing it. I felt it myself. I do believe it. And I'm on my journey towards hopefully being able, that would be a cool thing to do for the world, wouldn't it?
And plus the sort of materialistic determinist view that dominates culture in the West is so fucking boring.
Yes.
It's so boring and kind of dangerous.
Arrogant as well.
Oh,
arrogant.
Hubris.
Yeah.
So hubristic.
Yeah.
We've got it all worked out kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the way a lot of us were thinking.
Yeah. I think
less so.
I remember thinking like that when I was about 17.
You can't help it as a young man, though. Like you're constrained by the fact your brain only gives you logic.
The older I get, the more I realise that I know nothing.
Yes. Safest place to be.
Yeah.
I do feel, though, that people that have faith and belief and other things that I don't want to have, I want to have gnosis, I want to know. But people that do have that, a bit of a special superpower comes with that, quite frankly. An unshakable faith and belief like that. Yeah.
It's powerful.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, too.
With great power comes great responsibility.
It does.
These things can be twisted by the powers that be.
Yeah.
Particularly power structures. These things we call leaders.
Yes. People with doctrines, with so-called doctrines that so-called know more than you and have seen further than you and put you in a box.
And
these people
thus derive authority, which can then be weaponized for malevolent ends.
Well, I think the first thing for anybody engaging with these kind of ancient mystical mystery magic arts is that you gain your own sovereignty, because the first character is the trickster in there, the magician, and when you learn that philosophy attached to that card, you're not going to get tricked quite so easily because you know that character when you come across it. That's what the tarot essentially is. It's a series of flashcards with philosophies attached to them, and these philosophies go so deep they're essentially magic. Because the fractal, it works here, it works there, it works everywhere. You'll see these immortals, these elements of the philosophical elements of the universe that can barely be cut up anymore, and you'll see them everywhere.
Yeah, it's like the fundamentals of symbols.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right, so shall we have you shuffle some cards?
Yeah, I'll have a go.
And we'll...
I don't think I've ever... How many cards is there in a deck?
78.
Why not 72?
I know. It's annoying.
Why is the 78? What's the... Because we've got different arcanas, haven't we? Maybe we should explain that.
Yes, so you've got a Fool card, which is like a wild card, which is the modern-day Joker. You have 21 major arcana, which are astro-theological, philosophical symbols, archetypes, like we just said, that are actually essentially the meaning of numbers. So, as I always say, 1 has a meaning, 2 has a meaning, 3 has a meaning.
Monad, doad,
Dyad.
Triad, tetrad.
Very good. People say quadrad, but it's tetrad.
Yeah.
Quintessence. So, 1 has a meaning. There's one's going up and one's going down. I'm a 1, but the human race is 1. We're on one planet, but that's in one solar system. Ones go up and ones go down. So everything's made up of 1s. But if you are, I'm a 1. Phil's another 1. So now we've got 2 in a system. So I know what I am by if it was just me and Phil in the universe, which when I'm in this room, that's what it feels like.
You Smooth,
if there's only
smoothie.
Yeah. Liar. So I would know what I'm not by knowing you, because you're not me. You're not here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're over there. Now we've got a coordinate. You can make the universe with numbers.
Yep.
When you've got that 1 and a 2 in a system, me and Phil having a conversation right now, Phil says something to me, I go, flipping heck, I've not thought about it like that before. What about this? And we come up with a little thought baby between us, this conversation, which is a threeness. And then we start again to some extent in the number 4 by giving birth to that baby. Now we both know something new, and then we start again. Yeah. So numbers have philosophical meaning attached to them.
Yes, Pythagorean number philosophy.
Exactly that. And that is the basis of these cards, plus a few other alchemical things attached to them, like the star signs and things like that. And those, again, are psychological and based on number. Rather than being based on the meaning of numbers, the zodiac is based on opposites. It's like a series of yin and yangs.
Oh,
rather than it just being black and white, it's more like red, blue, green, yellow, if you get me.
Right.
It's rather than being left and right, it's up, down, left and right. And when you start to combine all these things together.
Up, down, left, right, star, star.
Yeah.
That's the cheat code.
It's the cheat code. Tarot cheat code. It's the Konami cheat code, isn't it? Something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think what tarot's really good for is, you know, as if you're just learning, apart from unlocking all the religions and giving you all these magical philosophical ideas and God, so many things, it allows you to, let's say I walk into a room and there's people arguing. One of them's being aggressive, and one of them's being a bit wet, and I can judge from these archetypes. So say like the person that's arguing and being heated, they're the archetype of Mars, the god of war. And the person on the opposite side is being Venus, the goddess of love. They're being a bit, oh, poor me, which is Venus the wrong way around. The right way around would be Venus giving out her love rather than needing stuff. So I can walk in a room and I can go, oh, Mars is at it again. Well, what's the opposite of Mars? I can behave with it that way. What's the opposite of Venus? I can behave with it that way. I can mirror them. I can match them. I can mix them about. These alchemical operations, and you'll see in alchemy, it is Mars, Venus, Jupiter. So it's the planets. These are these archetypes. So tarot allows you to start mixing and matching these archetypes around. So you get a really good idea of what energies the world might contain in any one situation,
Right.
even down to complex situations. Because you can boil it down to something simple, it's easy to recognize and deal with. So it's not like I've got this new person to deal with their own personality. You can almost forget that and just deal with the archetypes as they come through.
Right. Yeah, because the symbols condense so much information. It's a cheat code for...
Yeah, and they're repeatable. They repeat everywhere because they're so condensed.
Cool.
Okay,
so what do we do?
So I'm going to... We tune in. We held hands. Are you there? What was that crunchy advert? Are you there, Sydney? Are you there?
So you've took 2. Oh, you're doing some more. You've got 2 cards in the middle that you've crossed over.
Yes. So that's going to be like a focus.
Right. Okay.
I just took the cards out of the deck randomly. That's just the way I do it. Oh, we got 2 there by mistake. Right. So can we see that on the screen? Just about.
Oh, yeah. Let me just get rid of that that title graphic. 1 second. I'll just zip that out. Wait, that's better.
Smashing. Right. So this goes something like, this is the Celtic crosses. This is the most common spread in tarot.
Right.
I don't normally do this one too often, but I think for beginners, and if you're not doing it for yourself, this is a good one to go for.
Good.
So these 2 in the center are the focus of the reading.
Okay.
This one is the past. I'm doing it for the camera.
Right.
This one's the past. This one's the future. This one's what's above it and this one's like its foundation, what's below it. So that's like what the universe is doing to it. This is like the platform upon which it stands.
Wow.
Yep. So I do this one card at a time normally, but we'll flip both of these over. Ooh. Right. That's a combination, that. So this one, the Eight of Cups, indolence. Where we get dole from.
Right. Typical.
So
I don't like where this is going. Right, can we do something else tonight instead?
Well, it's funny this because it's got like a different energy attached to it, which is making it odd. So we'll find out where this goes as I start reading it.
A performer of indolence.
I mean, can you perform indolence? That's an oxymoron, isn't it?
I don't know.
Right.
I think this might be highly accurate. So the Eight of Cups. I'll tell you what archetypes are in there, and then we can add them all together alchemically. So, if in this way of Kabbalistic thinking, the number 1 is pure, it's right near the top, and then as we kind of emanate into the universe through the numbers, the number 8 is quite near the end. There's only 10 numbers. The number 8's quite near the end, and it's also related to the planet Mercury. Is it?
Yes.
Right.
So, because in Kabbalah, the emanations, as they come out, they're called spheres or sephirot.
Yep.
And they have planets assigned to them. So, like number 3 is Saturn, for example.
Got you.
So, number 8 is Mercury. Right. He's the communicator. He's something of a trickster. He's mapping the world. He's the guy. He's the god of symbols in the first place. He's the one that takes concepts and forms them into maps for meaning. So we got Saturn, who is the archetype of embodiment. And,
sorry, where are you getting Saturn from?
So each card, Saturn's there at the top.
Oh, sorry, in the card.
In the card itself. So in the Golden Dawn system, these cards are taken from all of tarot. You know, there's bits from the earliest Italian tradition, which then moved into the French tradition. There's a lot of, I've taken a lot from that. Then it moved into in the 20th century, late 1800s, late 1900s, 20th century. The Golden Dawn were famously associated with tarot. The Golden Dawn, like a secret society from London in Victorian times. Aleister Crowley, lots of other guys famously associated with them.
Was A.E. Waite in there?
A.E. Waite. They're going to say Marshall Mathers, then Marshall McLuhan.
It's all right. I'm sure people.
McGregor Mathers. And he produced a book called Book T, Liber T, meaning tarot. And that had all these associations laid out because it's really a calendar, the tarot. All these old arts are based on calendars. Obviously, because we're talking about astrotheology, so naturally you're going through the course of a year. So every day, look, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they've already got planets assigned to them. Saturday, Saturn's day, so this would be a Saturday card. And also associated with it is a star sign, so Pisces in this case. So we get this alchemical combination going on now of the number 8 having associations with Mercury, Saturn, and Cups, and Pisces. So we take all these archetypes together, add them together in a formula, we get this card. So Mercury's kind of intellect, activity, going here, going there. He's really fast. He travels short distances quickly. You know, he goes above, he goes below. He's the messenger god. He's communication itself. Saturn is a god of embodiment and time and agedness and a long way round and limitation. This whole limitation factor. So we've got Mercury limited already. Pisces is like a mystical, spiritual energy. It's I don't need to go really deep into all these. No. But
is it relevant that I am a Pisces?
Are you a Pisces?
Yeah.
Yes, it is relevant. See, this is why it's good to also talk to me. So we've got this communication or short-term energy, intellect, being somewhat withheld, limited, and the spirit by that also being limited, and maybe a little heart's been lost, as it were. Maybe browbeaten. Now we've got the performer of coins. It would be now. I've put discs because this is the old one. So have a look if you like.
Performer. He looks like a drummer.
He is a drummer. He would be the prince of coins.
You know, I used to play drums.
Did you?
Yeah. in rock bands, yeah.
This is what I mean by it all seems to... I didn't know you were a drummer. You look like a drummer.
Not very good one. Guitar primarily.
I'm going to say you're too
about...
reliable to be a proper drummer.
Oh, the nuts, aren't they?
Oh, my God. They're the reason why I stopped being in bands.
Yeah. They're a different breed of human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subhuman. Hence this card. He's a fawn. He's on this.
And so, is this fairly close to your new design of the tarot?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, almost. I've changed very little on that.
Okay.
So, what is this character? Well, he is the court cards, which this is one of, are one of 16 personalities, and we generate these 16 personalities by mixing the personalities of the 4 elements together. So a fire would be a willful, fiery person. Water would be an emotional mind person. You know, you're all wet. An air person would be an intellectual person, airy fairy. Yeah. And an earth person would be salt of the earth.
Right.
So here we're mixing up the air, the intellect, and the earth. That's how you get this particular character. So the air is volatile. It's got some energy to it. It's like a windy day. It's moving about. It's got ADHD. It's really good at lots of things, but not brilliant at everything. This guy, because he's connected with the earth, he's very he's talented, but it's coming from a natural place. It is a literal talent. He studied it, but he's got something about him that's just naturally good at it.
Homespun.
Yes, that kind of thing. He's not necessarily, he can't necessarily read music, but he's really good at it. You know, just something that's in him. So this person is a natural performer.
How do you know I couldn't read music?
I can't either. Yeah, I was a music producer, producing whole songs, and I couldn't read music either.
No. That's cool. And why is it sort of mirrored? Is that just because of the design of the deck, or is there some reason behind
I've mirrored that because there's what is an upright, they would call it, or an inverted. So on most cards, if it's upside down, it would just be the person upside down, and you'd say, "Oh, it's the bad meaning of this card."
Got yeah.
And the other way around would be the good meaning of this card. So, but I was like, well, why don't I just put them both on there and have it in the artwork that one of them, because you can just about tell he's crying his eyes out and he's throwing a tantrum basically. The other guy's having a great time.
Is there any what are these symbols in that corner, and that is that some sort of relevance, or
so those 16
decoding?
Those 16 character types that are combinations of fire, water, air, and earth. They were used early on by Carl Jung as an instrument, as it were, to measure people's personality types. Not that these things can't change. You can be one personality type one day, and then you get grumpy the day after. You're a different person.
Sure.
So these were merely tools to measure somebody's personality at the time. And then a couple of scientists called Myers and Briggs got together and made the Myers-Briggs personality test, which is based on these.
Is it?
Yes.
The Big Five?
Yeah, not the Big Five. That's
something different?
Yeah, something slightly different. So the Myers-Briggs was indicated by 4 letters, which make up the combinations of these 4 letters are all different for all 16 personality types. So this one is ESFP, extrovert. I can't remember all the things right now.
No, I know what you
mean.
I
had a late night last night, everybody.
How many personality types did you say? How many?
There are 16.
16, oh gosh, right.
Yeah. So it's like introvert,
sociopath.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. I had a good night out last night, everybody. I had to have a night off, so my brain's not wired for all this stuff right now.
Right, yeah. we could pull it up, but we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, totally.
Anyone can Google the Myers-Briggs personality traits,
and you can see what the letters stand for.
Excellent. And so, what's that symbol above? There's like the two arrows and the P.
So, in alchemy, the 4 elements are symbolized by the Star of David. When they're all together and in the quintessence, which is the 5th element, all the elements, the thing that binds all the elements together, it's in the Star of David symbol. And when you break that up, you can have the symbols for the individual elements. So a triangle pointing up is fire, pointing down like masculine, feminine like a vagina, or yoni to put it nicely, or minge to put it horribly. It's not a nice word, that though, is it?
It's not.
It's mingy. Air is a fire, triangle pointing upwards with a single line through it.
Yeah.
Earth is the same, upside down with a line through it, and that line through it, if you put water and together, suddenly you got that the Star of David triangle again. So that's what those are for. And then the P at the side is for prince, even though I put performer there of discs, but he would actually in a normal deck be the prince of discs.
Ah, right. So would that be equivalent of a jack?
But there's one extra. So you have king, queen, jack, page. Although in more modern decks it's king, queen, prince, princess as well.
Right.
I use prince, princess because I like it.
Cool.
So here we've got this naturally talented, earthy, Piscean performer type person that is
fucking weird. I'm getting a bit slightly wigged out.
That is, I don't want to say too much more because all these cards are going to have influence.
Yeah,
but there's
do it your own way. Don't let me
there's
fuck you
clearly.
up.
I'm not sure if it's the universe, kind of your life making you somewhat indolent, or that indolence is just more like a sluggishness on this. You know, things are broken, things are wearing down.
Yeah, sort of general disrepair.
General disrepair.
Bit like our studio when you walked in.
Fixing it all. I'm late. He's like, fucking, I'm going to be.
I nearly had to cancel this tonight because the computer was playing up and I was late setting up and this, that, and the other. Yeah, just a general state of disrepair of the studio. But we got there in the end.
It's all good, though.
Yeah.
Right, so let's have a look at what's in the past of this. So one's willpower, a pure, perfect willpower.
That's what wand represents.
Yeah, one's a fire, energy, creativity, the masculine force, the, literally energy, willpower.
Right.
Gumption, being a champion.
Right. And it's the ace of wands. Now, are aces high or low?
Aces are right at the top, so far to the top, so close to the top, they're almost ephemeral. You can barely.
Right.
So I'd say at this point, this person here, Phil, has had just the life force itself. It's almost not been thought of. The thing that's got you here, to this place where you are now, not just here in these cards, but here in time for you, has been a very natural masculine urge and willpower.
Right.
And ability to get shit done. I mean, look where we are now. It's no small feat, is it?
No, it doesn't do itself. Nothing does.
Yeah. How many episodes are you in now? Like
339 this is, without bonus episodes, yeah. So the ace of masculine. So basically you're saying I'm a top G.
Top G, mate. And not even on purpose, you know what I mean?
No,
it's
just comes naturally.
Just the drive that's there naturally.
That's weird. I
However,
wouldn't think of myself that way.
Would you not?
No.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't think I'm probably ripped enough.
But we're surrounded by your achievements.
Right, okay.
And you got a family in there and you've done loads of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And did you put much thought into it, or is it just have you just been coasting along?
I put lots of thought into most things. Things that I like to do.
Yeah.
I put lots of thought into.
Cool.
More than I should.
Do you?
Probably.
Overthinker.
I'm probably an intellectualizer, an overthinker.
Is it slowing you down, or is it?
I think if you can't snap yourself out of it,
Yeah.
it will. You can sort of get lost.
Yeah, I do.
And then you don't produce anything because you spend too long
For me,
questioning, second guessing.
Yes, that, and I just have a lot of procrastination because I don't feel ready until I'm ready.
So
until I feel ready, even though I might be.
I'm definitely not a procrastinator. It's just that I can, when I start something, I can get lost in the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a good doer, good at doing things like on a set schedule and
Right, cool.
and
Like lots of willpower.
I wouldn't, it doesn't feel like willpower to me.
Yeah, this
it
is kind of
feels
what we're
like,
getting about. It,
well, it needs doing, so you might
well,
as well
that
do
is
it now.
willpower.
Right. Right.
You know, especially if it comes easy, it's like a very natural, ethereal, ephemeral version of it. You know,
Right.
just what is that thing that's coming naturally to you.
I see. And what's in the picture? We've got a triangle. So the triangle represents, it's an upward pointing triangle. So that
Yes.
represents fire, does it?
Yeah, and it's getting at because we've got a stem coming out at the bottom as well and a bit of a cross here. It's hinting at the alchemical symbol for sulfur, which the word sulfur is more like soul fire. It's
Right.
willpower. It's the fire of your soul.
Sulfur, soul fire.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Right, let's see so this is what's got you here. A natural drive, let's say, more than willpower.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, this is the this is the Queen of Swords. Come on, look, what's got you before we delve into it?
Inquisitor.
Yes.
What's the fucking
The
podcast
Inquisition.
called?
Yes. I'll give you that. That's awesome.
The Inquisitor of Swords. Swords representing the intellect.
And she's Chun-Li.
We were talking about Street Fighter 2 before we started, and that card's modelled on Chun-Li. That's wild.
Yes, it is actually.
Fucking Inquisitor. I can't believe that came up.
So she is this person that's good at having schedules and good at being in order. And she would make a great detective. She would make a great anybody that's got to check one thing, the logic of one thing against another. She would be brilliant at.
Like an auditor?
Yeah, an auditor, somebody that makes schedules, a PA, a detective. A detective would be perfect. Even like a quality assurance person or what are they called that go around to restaurants and mark you off for having maggots in the chips?
Secret customer, what do they call
What are
them?
they called?
It's like a secret guest or something, isn't it?
Secret shopper?
Secret shopper,
Secret
yeah.
shopper.
Yeah, you can sign up for these websites and they'll send you a link and say, go to the this Airbnb on the QT, we'll pay for it, and then you go have your experience, then write a review for the company, and that's how they sort of do quality control, QC everything.
She would also be a good QC, as in court as well, and
Queen's Counsel, King's Counsel,
because she knows the law. She's holding a book of the law.
Wow.
In fact, what she's holding there is a digital copy of the "As Above, So Below" poem from Alchemy. Do you not know that one?
I don't know that.
It is true, veritable and most true. That which is above is like that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above. To accomplish the works of one thing. Its father is the sun, its mother is the moon. The wind carries it in its belly, its nurse is the earth. It goes on.
Where's it come from?
The emerald tablet of Hermes.
Mercury again.
It's the alchemical operation basically.
So you've chosen that to represent the book of the law. Is there other meanings? Could the law be like the Torah is a famous book of the law?
Yeah, it means the law. Well, Torah, tarot, they're all Sator, they're all the same thing.
Right.
It's all Kabbalistic. It's all numbers and stuff like this. They're this, as far as I can tell, those numbers that we've talked about in previous episodes are the highest thing known to these magicians.
Would you say that represents, say, could you frame it as the divine order of things?
Yes.
That sort of law.
Literally the divine order of things.
Cool.
That's these numbers.
Right.
So she it was in a positive way, it should be negative. She'd be like, unlawful police arresting one tier of person rather than another tier of person, for example, and applying the law as she sees fit. The SS, let's not go on to modern day politics.
Yeah, we get the message.
Yes.
Corruption or abuse of power.
Abuse of power and not checking where you're getting your information from. Because who's giving you the law? Who's giving you that doctrine? So they don't often question things as much. They might question what's in comparison to what's on the list, into what's in the law, but they're not necessarily questioning the philosophy of the law.
Yeah.
This person is air as a main category, and then she's water, so she's the queen of air, the queen of swords. Queen would be the watery part.
Got you.
So this is the matrix, the cup of intellect, not necessarily the activity of intellect, but the knowledge of that intellect. Hence, she's got the law, she's got the intellectual thing, and she's enacting upon it rather than trying to divine the root of that philosophy that made the law in the first place.
Hence the sword as being a divining symbol of the intellect, chopping things to
up.
make sense of them.
And she's also on that, she's got scales because she's associated with Libra and law and Lady Justice, Themis.
Right.
So you can see how these things come together and really...
Could she be blind?
She's got sunglasses on, but very dark ones. So she should be more blind, but it's more like an ignorance. That hairband she's got is a blindfold, but she's just taking it off.
Got you.
Because, like, Justice, you can blind Justice, but she should have a little peek there to see what's really going on.
Yeah.
So that's what's above these. What's below it? Stress. The 5 of discs. So we got Mercury, the number 5. Number 5 is Mars, which is the energy of... As soon as you have another person in the room, there's going to be points where your energy doesn't meet well. It might be a misunderstanding, or it might be downright aggression, or it might be we are in a field of existence and there's competition there for food, or you work in a different department at work, but you're going in for the same job I am, and so there's competition there. It's this kind of an idea. That within Mercury, which is, well, we'll see. And what's the star sign? Taurus. So you get cardinal, fixed, and mutable of each of these star signs. So for air signs, you get a cardinal, fixed, and immutable. Cardinal means like if it were a lighter, it would be that spark at the beginning of the lighter. It's instigation. Cardinal, it means cardinal is like a hinge. It means to open.
Yep.
So cardinal. Fixed is the thing being itself, and then mutable is that energy changing into something else. Rather than becoming, it's becoming something else. So cardinal air, for example, is Libra. We've actually had Libra in the Inquisitor of Swords. Fixed air is Aquarius, and mutable air is Gemini. So what they've also done with the tarot is, because Taurus is on 3 cards, there's a cardinal, fixed, and mutable Taurus.
Yeah.
So this is fixed Taurus. And Taurus is a fixed sign naturally. So it's double fixed. It's doubly in its place. It's doubly stubborn. And your symbols, they are big, angry, aggressive, muscular, frightening things, actually. Have you been near a real bull? A big bull?
Not super close, I don't think.
Yeah,
not in the open, anyway.
I've been
Christ.
cordoned off from it, but those things are frightening.
Oh, yeah. They're so power.
Just muscle. Yeah.
Raw power.
Yeah, raw power. And crazy look in their eyes. So this added to the mercurial... Mercury can be very confusing and very secretive because it's a messenger. The person that gives the message can't guarantee that the messenger isn't going to reinterpret it or translate it badly. Or,
Chinese whisper style.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, or just downright lie. So this plus that warring aspect of Mars, plus the double stubbornness of Taurus down there, it's not coming together well, and it's stressing out because we're in Earth as well. This card is an Earth card. So everything is, there's actually a fifth cog there. It just didn't come out well on this print, a black one. So everything's coming together in a, things are stopping working. There's one that's too hot. There's one that's too cold. There's one that's just got rust all over it. And there's another one that's the wrong size. You know what I mean?
Cogs, yeah.
Yeah, the cogs, they're all starting to grind against each other. This, I tell you what we can do now is actually put all these things together, and then we'll do the woo part and look at the future.
Okay.
Your future.
Good idea.
So, I don't know what the there's definitely a Saturnian stationary box ticking, going through the motions, riding on past success, riding on talent, but things are starting to get a bit old, need a new arrangement, buckle up. I don't think it's that bad. There's nothing here that's like final or anything like that. I think it's more like, you know, you've had the bike a while now, the chain's getting rusty, it needs a service.
Can I just clarify? That's past, isn't it? Past, future.
Yeah.
Above
it, yeah.
Foundation.
Yeah, so this
below.
is more like what in reality is actually happening, and this is like what's in the ether, what's in the air.
Yeah.
So the thing that's happening is, like I said, the bike change is getting a bit rusty. Yeah, stress. It's not as easy as it was. It requires some servicing, and she understands how to service it basically, but she's not necessarily very capable of doing that. That isn't her skill set.
The physical things. Service is a physical act, whereas she is an intellectual sorter outer of things,
she's
not maybe a practical.
Yeah, she understands what's wrong,
But doesn't know what to do.
but doesn't know what to
How
do.
to fix it.
Yes.
Right. Got you. That's interesting.
And the result of this is that natural talent is not atrophying. I would say not improving. It's going through a bit of the motions are getting difficult. Never mind going through the motions. The motions are becoming
Too stressful.
yes.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Ah.
Oh, we've got
One of my
Ryan's
favourite
just overturned the future card, and it's another suit, another major arcana card.
Another minor arcana.
Minor arcana,
Yeah.
sorry.
So this one I've called the Forger of Discs, and I almost called him the Foreman of Discs. So whereas this person isn't getting anything done, apart from understanding what needs to be done,
The Inquisitor.
this dude he's the king of Earth. He's the king of discs. He's the king of coins. And he's like I've got him as a smelter. He's able to pick the things up and mix the chemicals appropriately. You know, he's mixing the metals appropriately at the right temperature, at the right color. He's done it. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's able to manage the earthly items and get them to do what they need to do. He enlists help though to do it.
I was just going to ask, who's the little girl on his shoulder?
So that little girl is Isaac Newton in the form of a little chap called I always forget his name, but he's the one that stands on the shoulders of giants. A famous Newton saying.
Like Kepler or someone like that. Probably.
It's a mushroomy, druggy allegory, but it's to basically you must see beyond your current vision by recruiting help. You know, a manager, a foreman might be able to do the job and might be the best to do the job, but he can't do the job on his own. And excuse me.
Bless you. A tickle.
He will have staff on hand that can do individual tasks better than he can.
Yeah.
So you get by with a little help from your friends, but he's definitely the guy in charge, and he knows how to mix those elements. You know,
He's got a nice beard.
he's a cracker. You're just having a whole set of coincidences here, aren't you? But synchronicities.
Synchronicities is, I prefer that than coincidences.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there's a lot. I'm definitely, especially with, you know, the cards that stand out to me are the Performer and the Inquisitor. I mean, that's pretty wild to draw them cards, given my history and my personal life and background. That's quite, you know, that's quite astonishing. They're the two that speak the most to me, I would say. Less so the Ace. And the Indolent. I mean, crikey, I don't consider myself indolent at all. But maybe I don't know what it means.
Well, it's suggesting here, don't get hooked up on the individual names, because that's, if for an individual card, all these things are coming together.
Right, yeah, of course. It's
So,
a spread.
yeah.
Well, it's a read.
So what it's saying to me is natural disposition has empowered this performery person to. It's almost like a stagnation. We got to a point, and it's almost like a stagnation. Things are getting slightly stressful, and it's all good identifying the things that might be causing the stresses. But it's about moving on and mixing the chemicals in order to get that proper medicine that's required. So there's a doing there for me, but it's still a somewhat managerial doing.
Right.
BDE is what it is.
What's BDE?
Big dick energy.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put 4 cards on the end to help you achieve whatever might need to be achieved.
All right. Cool. Are you going to draw them at random, or is there any?
We can have you pick them. Just say when.
When?
Timo.
When? When?
One more.
I want the last one. Pull the last one.
The very last one.
Just to be a jerk.
Oh, right. Okay. These are interesting. Some powerful cards here. Right. So we've got what would be the Hierophant, but I call the Grandmaster.
Wow.
We've got the 5 of Swords, the Marshal of Swords, or the King of Swords, and
More air.
the Empress, or what I've called the Queen Mother in this deck.
Wow.
So we're talking about the guy that knows the doctrine and controls everybody, and that's this guy.
The Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster.
Or the Hierophant.
The
Would be his
Hierophant.
traditional name.
Yes, or the Pope before that.
The Pope, yes.
So in mine, he's called the Grandmaster because it could be the guy at the top of any art. You know, it'd be the Grandmaster of a martial art, the Grandmaster of a cult, the Grandmaster of a religion, the Grandmaster of whatever it is. He's the guy at the top, the guy that knows the doctrine and knows what's outside the doctrine as well if you're caught up in the doctrine. So that's in a fire position. So this is the willpower would be something like the energy that you use to, the essence of the energy that you would use to achieve what this guy is doing to override all this stuff is one of completion. You're using the things that you're already really good at and you already understand, and or going to somebody that already understands the thing to get it done.
Right. Yeah.
He makes batteries. Like Morpheus says, you're a battery.
All right.
He makes batteries.
The Hierophant,
Yeah.
the Grandmaster.
By knowing doctrines, by knowing arts, by knowing crafts, you are able to put people within that doctrine. It's a box. It's a Saturn's black cubit box.
Oh my gosh.
you keep people within that doctrine, and you can extract energy from it. You know, a simple thing is like church collection plate goes round. You must pay the money to, well, you're making a battery of those people and you're extracting energy from it.
Yeah.
A college professor might have a band of students doing work for him for extra credit. Well, he's created a battery there by, here's the doctrine, you can have extra credit, I don't pay you anything, and you do work for me to help me get
interning.
Yeah, interning. Yeah. Creating a battery, extracting the energy.
That sounds horrible.
It is horrible. When I got down to the bottom of that card, it was like, that's the coolest card and also the worst card.
Yeah.
That's only if he's a tyrant. It's not necessarily he's doing that. He might be breaking people out of boxes. He might be Terence McKenna, who understands the doctrine and is going around trying to break people out of it.
Right.
I do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm people say, oh, Ryan, who's into the occult? And that, no, I'm actually a de-occultist. I might study these things for myself, but I don't keep them occulted. Occulted means hidden, you can't see. I'm literally profaning these mysteries by telling people what they are. The
point is that this stuff has been closely guarded for centuries or millennia, and the point of what you do and a lot of other guys out there is to lift the veil, and show people what's under there. Yeah, I mean, the veil's still covering my eyes somewhat. I started this off by saying I don't know what the hell's going on, but something's very fishy about the universe. You see, the people who did enforce the veil at the time, one of their justifications would have been that this information, this knowledge, these practices in the wrong hands can be very dangerous, detrimental to everyone.
Yeah.
But sunlight is the best disinfectant, as they say.
Well, there's all the ways of looking at it. As with all things in life, there are many opposing sides to it. I collected it all those opposing sides to it, and just said to myself, well, I'm not part of a cult. I've got to learn all this stuff myself. I would appreciate it if somebody would have told me straight and told me simply.
Well, it's like propaganda or word magic, however you define it. I'd rather know that it exists.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're going to be a slave to it.
You're going to be a sucker to it. And that's the opposite of enlightenment, is bedarkenment. And that's the thing. If I know how you work via this psychological system on one level, if I know how you work, I can keep you in the dark.
Yeah, play like a fiddle.
By knowing that doctrine and keeping you out of it. It's simple.
Got you.
But that's people will know things if you want to say move on or do other things or improve something or just get rid of the stress in the system. Again, he is the willpower to get shit done. And
the forger,
he's forging the metals
of discs. Yeah.
So he's going up to guys like this and saying, "Oh, you know all about it. You're a plumber. It might be. You're a master plumber. Look, mate, I can't afford a master plumber right now, but I've got this particular thing. If you could explain to me how to do it, I'll be able to do it myself." And he might go, "Oh, well, it's only 10 minutes work, mate. I'll come and sort you out." It might be that. Water defeat.
This is the second card that you drew. Oh, no, that I picked at random.
That you picked, yeah. So that's willpower, how you've got to go about your thing.
The first one.
Yeah, this is more what should your mind state be like while you're doing it.
So is this an air card?
This is an air card.
That I've picked, right?
Yeah, so it's the number 5, which is Mars, Venus, in opposition to that. That is Aquarius, and it is fixed. So that's fixed again.
So we've had fixed Taurus and fixed Aquarius.
Yeah, and they're both 5s as well.
Yeah, weird.
So
there's 5 swords there. Got the 5 cogs.
So this is more of a resigned to something.
Sorry, that's a
5 as well.
Yeah. The Hierophant's a 5 card. Just want to point that out. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good to do that. We'll go over at the end and we'll be going like, there's loads of fire here, or there's loads of water here, or what. I mean, there is plenty of, it's fire and air I'm seeing mostly.
Yeah.
But you've got quite a good combination, so there's nothing too powerful. If it was all fire, you'd be like, mate, my God, what's going on? So I would say this is, in comparison to the rest of the cards, this is almost a resignedness to it, that not necessarily a defeat of your mental state, but resigning to the fact that these things have happened, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
And you can just go, that's fine, because there's nothing so strong here. There's nothing like I'm going, oh my God, this needs changing, this needs fixing. It's just more like wear and tear or something like that to me.
Well, if this is the foundation, stress, and you're talking about like a resignation of something that is occurring, this is a present card. I mean, that's my attitude. It's like you can't change anything.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Yeah. That is it. Just be resigned to it.
Even if it was this morning. If I was stressed this morning, well, that was this morning. It's gone.
That's a great attitude then. As long as you're learning the lesson from it as well and you're not running away from it.
So one of my mantras, it's not an active mantra. It's not something I say to myself, but it's something I try and keep in mind, is that, and I don't know where I heard this from. Someone famous, or it was in a book, or someone said this, but it goes something like, you can't control events, you can only control your response to them, or your reaction to them.
Yes. This is even further than that. I would say it's a resignedness to the event, the fact that there's going to be more events.
Yeah, because that's life.
Yeah, because that's life.
And it's like, stop.
Yeah, don't even let them be bothering you when they come on. It's like, oh, here's another one. It's just another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So the intellect of getting this, and I feel like this guy are all coming together now.
Right.
So
which is this, the third card?
This is the air card. So your intellect, how you should deal with things logically and intellectually.
And it's the Marshal of Swords. What's Marshal mean?
So
what I mean, is that does that represent a number? Is it number?
So he is the King of Swords.
Oh, the king
of so it's fire and air mixed together. The fiery parts of air.
Oh gosh, I can see the K now. So he's a king.
He's a king. We can come back to that. So
King of Swords.
King of Swords. He is. So if we add energy and willpower to the intellect, we get somebody that's a great chess player. He's a strategist. He's he doesn't just understand logic. He knows how to use logic logically. That his mind's on fire and he can just see what's going on, would be the best way to put it. He can see the bigger picture and he's able to think 3 or 4 chess moves ahead of whatever he's doing. He's just a perfect strategist.
Wow. Doesn't fit the bill for me, I don't think.
Well, no, so this is help to achieve.
This is where I need to, this is aiming.
Yeah, this is aiming. Yeah. This is aiming.
Can I just say, is there any reason he has the pentagram around his neck?
Yeah.
Or were you just being a bit fruity?
No, he's so weirdly, this is the only other card that has a Street Fighter thing attached to it.
Oh, it's Bison.
Yeah, it's Bison. Yeah. So it's just weird that you were wearing a Street Fighter t-shirt as well, and these are the two Street Fighter
wearing a Street Fighter t-shirt. You mentioned Street Fighter before.
I did.
And I had a synchronicity because we were talking about it before. Yeah. But the reason we were talking about it is because you saw my t-shirt.
There you go.
I have a Street Fighter 2 t-shirt. Oh, God. So there's only 2 cards in the deck that are based on Street Fighter characters.
Yeah.
And I've pulled them.
Yes.
And the combinations of the tarot is greater than any of the atoms in the universe.
Yes.
But what's the chances? How many cards in the deck? 76?
78.
78. So to pick 2 cards... It's pretty
twice.
It's pretty long odds, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty
long odds.
Not mega, nothing like the
no.
in the deck.
We're picking. How many have we picked? 4, 8, 9. 9 out of 78. So it's probably 10% chance to get 1. Less. I'm sure.
You're somewhere in the hundreds of thousands, something
really?
like that. Yeah.
Wow. To get both, definitely.
To get both.
Yeah, definitely to get both.
So. He's a strategist, basically. His mind's on fire. He can almost see the bloody future through his logic. He can't actually see the future. It's not He's not a feeling or anything. He's not getting visions. He's just figured it all out.
Okay.
So in an earthly...
So this is the fourth card.
This is the fourth.
I
And
picked.
yes, this is Earth. The Earth is literally physicality, what you're doing day to day, almost mundaneness.
So you've called this the Queen Mother card, but
Yeah.
in the traditional deck it would be the Earth card.
The Empress.
Empress.
Yes. She
Empress.
is... There's like a higher feminine in the cards. Like a Venus.
Virgo kind of thing.
She's more Virgo.
She's more
She's
Virgo.
more
'Cause
Vir-
she's pregnant.
Yeah, she's earthly, yeah. So what is she? She's the result of letting go to your drives and how beautiful those things are. You know, letting go to your sexual urges if you're around the right people and ends up in more beautiful people. You know, being a pregnant lady's beautiful thing. You know, the feminine archetype of the West is a lady and a child. You know, that's the feminine archetype.
The Madonna.
Yeah, the Madonna.
Yeah.
So we have here,
Not Madonna from Like a Virgin.
yeah, that one, that exact same one,
Madge.
but Black Madonna.
The famous Black Madonnas
Madonna.
from France.
Yeah,
You find in these
well, they're in
old-
Egypt. They're in it. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. It's it's the fertility of the earth, and that blackness is really the principle of chaos. It's a Saturnian color. It's that the universe was conceived by randomness, chaos. This black fertile is the feminine archetype. Chaos is where all fertility comes from. All new things come from chaos.
The waters.
Yep.
Yeah. How's it
Waters of
said
chaos.
in the Bible? The something waters.
Waters above and the waters below.
Yeah.
That comes from Sumeria, that there was in the Apsu, which is the Sumerian nether realm or primordial realm. There are two waters. There's the sweet fresh water, and separated from that is a layer of salt water, the bitter waters. And so one is real chaos and infertile chaos and a more fertile chaos. And in that fertile chaos was an inevitability. So you got randomness, what we're doing here. It's randomness and inevitability. You're inevitably going to draw some cards. It's going to be in the order that you pick them because you were inevitably going to pick those cards. So those are the two. It's strange to say that. So, yes.
I'm noticing we've got the snake, and it looks like the back of a guy there. Like we've got some Garden of Eden symbology.
We
going
do,
on
yeah. So for her,
in the Empress card,
yes.
Ryan's Empress card.
So what we had was the number 1, masculine. Number 2, feminine. They came together, made the number 3. So the masculine withdraws from that operation.
Yeah, he's done his bit.
He's done his bit. He's walking off, and there's the god walking off.
Wow.
The earliest myths were the earliest myths, and this is speculating and projecting backwards, but by guys that really know what they're talking about. And that is, God created the universe, made a tree, left a snake in it to help us, and then retired from the world. So that's the earliest myth. And we can see that God, in inverted commas, has retired. We can see the feminine all around us all the time. This is the feminine. Anything that captures the energy, we can see it, but we can't see God anymore. The thing that started the whole thing, we can't see it. We can't even see energy. You can't see light. You can see what light reflects from. Even fire. You think you're seeing light from the fire, but you're not. You're seeing plasma reflected from more dense bodies into your eyes. So you never see the energy. You never witness the energy.
No.
Electric shock, you don't get the energy. You get the pulsing of your muscles under those conditions. So God has retired. So these things are deep. These things are really deep. Wow. And, you know, it's one thing to do a tarot reading like this. It's another thing entirely to study the cards and extract that philosophy from there, because it's literally mind-blowing.
You could
and
spend,
life-changing.
like, just looking at this Empress card, the Queen Mother card, there's so much in it, you know. And like you said about the number, it's number 3. Well, it's the pregnant lady. The man's walking away, and that's why it's number 3. They've produced the threeness of the card is in her belly.
It's in her belly, yeah. Which is also the shape of Venus, which also is generating life. The orbit of Venus, when you look at it from the Earth over 8 years, forms a pentagram.
Right,
That pentagram is covered in the phi ratio. All life grows by the phi ratio. I've also put the phi ratio in this little flower one that she has
like
here.
the Fibonacci sequence is similarly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Similarly.
And she also, that phi ratio grows life. We'll find it at the center of an apple as well.
The pentagram.
Yeah. And so I've also put the analogies for the apple on here. So obviously she's Eve in Eden, the snake's there. The snake and Eve are very related. The snake is Eve to much of an extent. So what we've got here is an apple next to an Amanita muscaria mushroom, which is red and white. Famously, an apple's eaten by Sleeping Beauty. But when you look at that, it's given by a witch. And what else is red and white? Red with white spots. We've also got on a pomegranate, which is taken into the underworld by Persephone. She's Persephone as well.
Yeah.
And
it's the archetype.
Yeah, so what's a pomegranate? Well, it's an opium poppy. That's what a pomegranate is.
Right.
It's an opium poppy. They look exactly the same.
Yes. And these are used in Egyptian, I think, symbology as well, aren't they?
They use it in Egypt. Persephone's from Greece.
A fertility symbol.
Yeah.
Symbol for fertility.
But it's...
one layer.
One layer.
One layer.
Yeah. Because it's full of many seeds and fruits and seeds, and it's really good for your pomegranate. But you find that any country that has pomegranates in its front and center in its iconography, you also find that they produce a lot of opium poppies as well.
Right.
Because until recently, when we were changing it chemically, it wasn't so strong. And it was mostly used for healing and fertility rites and these kind of things. And obviously for the mysteries, because if Persephone's eating pomegranates and whatnot, that's not going to take it into the underworld, is it? But a poppy will.
Got you. Right. Yeah, she ends up in Hades, doesn't she?
She does, yeah.
And is it Demeter?
Yeah, she needs to bring her back, and they do all kind of swapsies.
Yeah.
Again, these are calendrical analogies for life coming to the land and then dying for 6 months.
Fascinating. So she's an earth card, the Empress.
Yes.
And we've got an air card, 2 air cards.
Yep.
And he's
another earth. He's another earth.
Oh, he's another earth.
Really,
the Hierophant's earth as well.
He's Taurus. So you got Taurus, Pisces. He's something. I can't remember. No, it doesn't really translate to those. And yeah, but the way I see this is, it seems very day-to-day life stuff, to be quite frank. There's nothing so major here. Maybe a slight atrophying of talent, stress behind the scenes, understanding that because of where things are in life, seeing it, there's definitely it's not a hidden thing. The ability to rearrange the matter done by authority figures or previous authority and subjects that you might already know. Resigning yourself resigning yourself mentally, intellectually being quick, smart, a step ahead, a strategist, and the earth of it. Either it's about being creative or relying on some matriarchal figure. Maybe the missus, maybe your mother. There's some matriarchal figure that can help you to birth your way out of it.
Wow. That's something to ponder.
Maybe this person's matriarchal.
The Hierophant?
Yes. He's drawing down the power of the feminine, essentially. putting people in boxes is this. We said the feminine is represented by a cup, a box, a container.
Yep.
So if he's drawing down things for containers and creating containers, he's drawing down the power of the feminine in a strategic way, in a logical, in an almost merciless way. Kind but merciless. You know, you can be merciless and kind, can't you?
Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind.
Yes, exactly that. However, there's a definite something feminine, creative, born at the end of it. It's not necessarily going to be a something new outcome, as in something physical. Well, no, it is quite physical. She's earthly and we're in the earth. But either giving birth to it or that she's relating to these figures, and it should be a some kind of a feminine energy that you're drawing in. Not necessarily BDE, but BFE.
BVE?
BVE, that's what I meant.
Big vagina energy.
I said vagina.
I need to draw down some big vagina energy strategically.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Vagina.
Well,
I like that. Yeah, nothing massive here, though.
No, I know. I can see. It's very relatable to me. Everything that we've seen and that you've said. Lots and lots of it. Definitely. Can definitely relate to it. Is that it? Are we? Is that the conclusion of the reading?
Le conclusion.
Well,
Finn.
Fantastic, Ryan. You're so talented at this stuff. You really do amaze me.
Oh.
How you can pull all this stuff out, you know, succinctly. And I wish I could talk more eloquently.
Yes.
Sometimes my vocabulary lets me down. I know millions and billions of words. I just cannot find them when I want them sometimes. But no,
I go through weeks.
You've definitely got an amazing talent for.
Oh, thank you.
For drawing this information out through the symbolism.
Yeah.
It's like a superpower you have.
I feel
it's like. Do you MC?
Yeah, I could freestyle if that's what you're going to ask me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Because that, to me, again, is like a superpower. We've had people MCing here on the podcast live, and it blows me away because I just don't have that verbal intelligence.
I had to kind of learn it, but yeah, what it is, you're saying the line while you're thinking of the next line. You like partition your brain off.
It's like circular breathing.
Yeah,
it's like playing a didgeridoo.
Yeah, you kind of think the line, then it gets shelved, and then you start saying it. Though even as you start saying it, it might start coming out differently. You might say something wrong and have to change it on the fly. Sometimes I just let my mouth dribble and make something out of the clay that's coming out. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll half form the sentence. Oh, this would be funny to finish that off with. So there are several ways of doing it.
So I struggle to read something out loud without at some point tripping over a word or mispronouncing a word or getting a punctuation thing wrong.
The last podcast I did, I figured you could have started a drinking game where every time I say you know.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And you'd have been drunk within 10 minutes.
Well, you know what you have to do?
I don't know, but you know.
Stop watching them. Don't rewatch them.
But it helps me to refine myself because
you're
first
right.
couple of episodes with you that, you know, I was virgin when I met you. And there was a fair few quite a few you knows, a little bit of like ego coming out, even though I didn't intend it to.
Yeah.
And so I'd watch over it. Sometimes I'd be surprised at what I said, like, oh, I don't know that now. How the hell did he know that then? But it's good to refine yourself as well. When you listen to, when I used to listen to myself back rapping as well, it would be, yeah, that's so good, but not quite. It's good being your own voice. But I agree with what you're saying in principle.
Yeah, I'm sort of disagreeing with what I said now. You know, if you want to improve, then you have to review. I suppose you have to review what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that it does make sense.
Don't just reprimand yourself. You got to pick yourself up as well.
It's got to be constructive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah, you got to be pragmatic in that degree. I suppose maybe the key is to be able to review things without, like you said, beating yourself up, and just being able to review things from an analytical point of view, and say, "Oh, I didn't like that."
It's like that strategy guy. He's not really emotional about it. He's merciless. He's being merciless.
Yeah, logical.
Yeah, and if you're not being egotistical or you're trying to defeat your ego, then naturally it just goes to one side anyway. And it's not helpful, that thing, for a lot of stuff, especially if you're being critical of yourself. Because you might just you might look over it, just look at the good stuff and turn a blind eye to the bad stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's, there's a term for that.
Aggrandizement.
It's self-defeating. We dismantle. Self-sabotage.
Yes.
It's self-sabotage.
Yes. We all do that as
wittingly or unwittingly.
I think my major thing was always imposter syndrome. And that's my procrastination for learning things and needing to learn it to the nth degree before I start to expose myself. Especially with what I deal with. It's so woo.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And we're finding a strange juxtaposition between both of us going, we don't believe in any of that. We totally believe in all that. I don't know where I stand with it myself. So I'm dodgy around it and guarded around it.
I feel that. I get that sometimes, that imposter syndrome. And the risk is if you let that take hold, you start censoring yourself. You end up not saying anything or not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid of being wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's the ego working in again.
It is, yeah.
It's like, oh gosh, what if I get called out on that? What if I'm wrong and someone makes a fool of me?
I think it's good to have to a certain extent.
Yeah. Well, it's balance again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's polarity.
But it can stop you getting your stuff done, as it does for me. But when you meet other people and you've got your ears open, that can help cure it. You know, I met some people who are also really knowledgeable about tarot, and by meeting them and realizing that I'm keeping up with them, if not superseding them in certain areas, that, you know, it gives me some confidence that I'm not chatting shit.
No. Before we started, I think I mentioned Helen, who's one of our producers, who's in the Element Service. She said something about, I'll draw a card for you.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I think she meant, I mean, she might mean she's going to, is she an artist?
I believe she practices tarot.
Oh, well.
But I mean, like, you've done this thing where, just throw a card out?
Yeah. I'll draw a card for you.
Right.
I mean, she might be at home with her felt tips right now. A bit gutted, like, bastard. I'm doing it now, and he's having a go at me online in front of all these people.
So it just means that the reader draws a card, and then interprets that, on its own.
As far as, like, you know, the energies involved and people, you know, I said to you, do you want to shuffle them and do you want to pick some out? Oh, well, that's as much to get you involved as it is anything else. Right. You might say, oh, he's putting his energies in the card, or maybe you start thinking about them. I do different things compared to different people I'm talking to when I get a sense of who they are.
Really? You tailor it?
Yeah, because I'm dealing with people, and I'm in a nice way. I'm tricking you all the time. You know, if I can see you really overly excited about it, I'll do it myself.
Right.
Just to chill you out a bit, or to stop you jumping to conclusions. But if we see you might have a bit of trepidation or something like that, I go, oh yeah, come and join in.
I see. So,
right. Because for me, it's this chaos. If there is woo, it's this chaos thing. And if there's chaos, then it'll work. It doesn't need you to involve yourself in the chaos for it to work for you. I'm just dealing with chaos.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's so much psychology in all this, you know. I need to get into more Jung. I've read the archetypes, and I think I've got like a greatest hits somewhere on the shelf, like some of his best stuff. And because I think he was a long way down this road. I think he was probably light years ahead of most people as regards.
Yeah. So
even though he's treated as one of the greats of psychology. No, he's probably an alchemist.
Yeah, he's absolutely an alchemist.
Like Newton, Isaac Newton.
First and foremost, yeah, absolutely. Jung, it can be a bit difficult. It can be a bit long-winded.
Oh, yeah.
And alchemy itself is difficult because there is definitely a tradition there, but it's not a very stable tradition. The same symbols are used for different things by different authors. It's not easy. It's something I've been studying for a long time, but I'm not able to derive too much from the Western tradition. It's been easier for me realizing the Eastern tradition was the same, there or thereabouts, and looking into that because there are still willful teachers, willing teachers around.
It seems to me that as far as Eastern tradition and Western tradition goes, my supposition would be, not knowing much about these things, is that there's one tradition. It's just that different cultures bring their own cultural baggage and experience and history to bear on the same system.
Absolutely.
So I think it's probably interesting to as a comparative, to compare, if you want a really nerdy scholar of the occult, to compare how East and West treat the same subject and then analyze what it is in their history or their cultural background that's influenced that interpretation of various different things. It's like, what would be the Western analog for something like Tai Chi or Qigong? What do we do in the West?
Well,
like that.
So what we do is, Qigong for everybody out there is literally moving your body in a way so you move it keeps channels open so the energy can move around your body easily. In the West, we do have that. So that field that you're working with, apparently, supposedly, is you could call it your aura, but it's what does the magic. It's the antenna that connects to the universe. It's the energy that allows you to astrally project. It's what's lost when you've cast a spell, according to the tradition. I'm not saying this is totally real. I feel like it's totally real. So in the West, we did certain things. Those things survived in pop culture. So in Tai Chi, one of the things they do, we talked about the wounds on the hands that Jesus had. Satori, Potene, Opera, and Rotas. Well, I can't remember the name in Chinese, but there's names for these same points, and you need to keep them open. So you spread them, and that allows, what you're trying to do is keep everything open enough so it can come out. You'll see people trying to do energy balls and stuff like that. In the West, we don't spread the palms like that. What we do is twinkle the fingers and do stuff like this. And what's that, everybody at home? That's, casting a magic spell, double, trouble, toiling, blah, 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 whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so these same exercises and these same things are done. Like you'll see on a lot of the alchemical manuals, you'll see dudes spread out. It's not just somebody stood up. They've always got their arms out, often in what's called the Orans position, which was the default prayer position before we started doing this stuff, which again is a mudra. The mudras are constructed in a certain way so that the energy, once you get it charged up, goes through your system in certain ways because your hands and your feet are the ends of those systems. So I do, in ninjutsu, we have 9 mudra called the In-Yo. And you might have seen them doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
So there's 9 ways of weaving your fingers.
Right.
And if you can see closely, they're quite, I don't know what I could see here. So they get quite complex. So you got Rin, and then it's literally weaving your fingers together and getting them in such strange positions. Pure. There you go. And there you can feel it. When I've been building up the energy according to the Chinese stuff and to Western alchemy as well, Hermetics it's often called in the Western tradition. You'd have to read the Hermetica to start drawing that out, or read somebody like Franz Barton, who had also seen that in this. He'd seen the energetic stuff in this, and I found it in this as well. The chariot,
tarot deck.
Yeah, the chariot card, for example. you'll often see a plate at the belly, just below the belly area, which is what I was saying before, which is where they hold the Holy Grail. The Grail Maiden in the Grail Mysteries, the Grail used to be more of a plate.
Platter, yeah.
Yeah. A charger is what it was called. So you're charging that area up. And it's Virgo, it's the Grail Maiden that carries that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's in there as well. A lot of the time on the Chariot card, for example, there's an old early 17th century French card where the Chariot is literally the coccyx and the sacral plexus. That's what we did. If you think of the spine, you've got the lower lumbar, and then you've got the sacral plexus, the tail bit at the bottom.
Right.
Well, that's what's behind this
energy
area.
point.
Yeah, this area. So it's called the sacral bone for that reason.
Sacred.
Because it's sacred and it secretions. The Egyptians had seen bull's anatomy and had seen that the sperm ducts are directly linked to that area.
Right.
So the one of the reasons why the ankh looks like that is because it's the sacral bones of an ox.
Right. Wow.
There's a symbol of life for you. You know, the spine giving into the generative area, and although in the traditions like Kundalini and in Egypt it was the serpent going up the back of the body to the front of the head. There.
Uraeus is the snaky guy coming out the pharaoh's forehead. Yeah.
Friend of mine, old boy who you had on the other week, he recently went to a Mithraeum and he was like, "Oh, look at these fertility statues here." It was a Mithraic museum next to the
I've not seen that. Is that in the UK? Is that the one? Is it up north?
Yeah.
Or is it Bath? Maybe
New York. I can't remember where he was. I think he was up north.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can see, it's fertility statue and all this lot. And I put pillar statue, like it was almost like a spine with a head on the top. Pillar statue plus serpent up the back plus hard phallus, erect phallus, equals internal alchemy. And he said, yes, I saw a pine cone on the dude's head as well. That's the pineal for anybody.
Pineal gland. Yes.
It seems to me what they're all doing, and I would like to come back in the future and do a really good internal alchemy show.
Sounds good.
But you in meditation, in those profound, empty but concentrative states, you put your attention on certain parts of your body. Those certain parts of your body are charged up by that attention. Where the mind goes, the chi flows, as they say.
Right.
So, apparently you're supposed to stretch yourself out and stuff like that and do Tai Chi and all these things for a while. But I've done other martial arts since I was 12. So I think I had a bit of a head start. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I realized actually how simple the things that they were doing were, difficult, but simple. It's difficult getting into deep meditative places and staying there. That's what's difficult.
Right.
And so you put your mind in certain areas of the body, particularly in that space just below the belly button, and it feels like a hot stone is what it feels like in the middle of my belly. And it's tight and constantly pulling, and it feels like I've permanently just done 40 sit-ups 2 seconds. You know, I've just stopped doing sit-ups, and there's that tight feeling there. Almost like you need the toilet and you've been eating sharp chips or something like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sharp chips.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and so there are many stages to go, but like within 10 seconds, I can get it hot. And it reminds me, there's an alchemical adage based on the word vitriol, which is a word for an acid that breaks things down to the component parts, like attention does. And that is visita interiora terra, rectificando iones occultus lapidem, which is visit the interior of the earth, and by rectifying, find the hidden stone. Rectifying's fix. So if you visit the interior of the earth, and by looking around in there with your attention and opening any blockages you might have, like they often say, you got strain in your neck, then you might be from stress. I get it in my belly.
Lower back pain.
Yeah.
Famous for
Famous for
often being psychologically caused.
yes.
Allegedly.
Same as shoulders. It's true.
Well,
It's true, 'cause
I'm
when
not
you
a
release
doctor.
when you release people, even when I'm doing like chiropractic adjustments on people, which I know from doing martial arts.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, not officially, but I do it for people.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. It's like if anyone's got real issue, I don't touch them because I don't want to break them. Do you know what I mean? But if you just got a niggle or something like that, or I can see you're out of line, I can whip you back into shape.
Wow.
Especially when I do the spine on people, they start crying. Something comes up, you're releasing it. It just feels like you're releasing it. Your body keeps hold of these things. And the men as well, not just women.
No.
Men just start crying. Yeah. They'll start laughing quickly after. They don't even know what's come up. It's just all that pressure, all that time, all that pain just gets released and dissolves. And
It's overwhelming.
yeah, I tend to laugh. Like I've got one of my students that can do it for me now when I need it. And I just start laughing, mate.
Wow.
It's weird. It's like overwhelming. It's like, and then he turns into Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, dear. Well, Ryan, we've just ticked over 2 hours.
Blimey.
Yeah. Where's the time go?
Does time go?
Thank you. Thank you for doing my tarot.
Oh, you're welcome,
my
mate.
first reading.
Yeah, it's very seldom that I do anything like that.
Well, I was going to say, is a personalised tarot reading not one of the potential rewards on
It
your
is.
Kickstarter?
It is. That's it's such a rare thing to do. I thought it would be a special treat for the people on there. But boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, things and stuffs. The tarot isn't just about doing readings or some silly medieval thing. I promise you, it has the keys. They're often called the keys. It has the keys to understanding religion. It has the keys to understanding your own psychology by a simple system. It has the keys to a logical mystery order of the makeup of the universe. It tells you how to meditate. It can tell you how to get these energy systems going. There's potions in there for strange drugs. There are the mysteries of time and space in there, in that they calculated and understood that the size of the planets are linked to certain numbers, cosmic musical geometry. There are so many things in these cards. There's famously this pattern that I discovered that is on cave walls used in the Narma tablet. There are so many things in these cards, the things I'm forgetting now. I mean, we already said the Myers-Briggs, and that's the surface on those. Logic, grammar, and rhetorics in there, and the 7 classical schools of thought. There's so much in here.
Yeah, quadrivium and trivium.
Yes.
It's so disappointing how the profane, to put it one way, as soon as they hear the word tarot, they go straight to Russell Grant.
I did, though.
Yeah, well, we all did because of conditioning, I would suggest, through cultural conditioning.
Yeah.
And it's good that you're bringing this forward to more people, and that more people, like I told my missus when we were having tea, I said, I'm having a tarot reading tonight.
Cool.
And she was like, oh, really? And she has tarot cards.
Oh, does she?
But I'd forgotten.
You've got some. I gave you.
Well, yeah, they're
oldest
up there.
deck.
The Visconti Sforza deck is up there.
That's the oldest deck.
Yeah, but I remember when we first moved in together, and you're unpacking your stuff. It's 20 years ago, nearly.
Yeah.
And she had a tarot deck. I was like, oh, fuck.
Stupid cards.
Who the fuck have I moved in with here?
Yeah. That's how I was. Yeah. And so, what are you going doing that for? It's not, especially as a young man. Look, even if all the woo is nonsense, it's an exercise for your right brain. It's an exercise for left and right brain.
For a young man, I mean, it completely goes against the cultural, what would you say, programming that we receive.
Well, so your brain's not wired for it yet.
To be the ace of wands, you wouldn't fucking entertain looking at a tarot deck, would you?
Because you think it's just silly fortune-telling stuff.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's a lot of meaningless symbols. No such thing as spirit. Well, it was angel decks that one of my girlfriends had. And I'm like, yeah, but there's no such thing. It's clearly ridiculous. There's no such thing as angels or demons. What I didn't realize is angles is the angels, and these are the angles. These are the angels. These are the daemons. These are the archetypes, as Jung would put it.
Yeah.
These are the elements of not only psyche, but also from the universe. You could call them these are the gods. They're the immortal things that will be there whether you're here or not.
Yeah.
Okay, death. There's a card called death. If there's no life, you can't have death. Well, that's not true, because a star would die. It would change forms so much when it goes neutron that it changes into something else. There's death.
Yeah, so death is more about a changing in form or arrangement, a changing to something else, rather than dying, how we think of it.
A notable change into something else. Well, because energy is never destroyed, the information's always preserved, and it just changes from one form to the other. Death, in reality, doesn't exist in the universe.
No, it doesn't exist. No, we just change.
We just change.
Everything changes.
Everything changes.
My dad always used to tell me if I was upset or stressed or anything, he used to say a couple of things. Nothing lasts forever. Things always change, and it's right.
It's true,
and it's a universal constant, a truth, a universal truth.
My ex used to have "This too shall pass" tattooed on her elbow.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it was.
It's the last thing you see before you get knocked out. Oh gosh! You wake up with a feeling of sharp chips in your belly.
Yes, mate. Joke of the night, though.
Well, do you think we should wrap this up?
Yeah.
Have you anything else you need to say? Are you happy?
Shall we give the people a quick flick through the cards? I won't talk about them.
Yeah. I could have done this while we were. Could have done this while we were talking. I'll just have to nip back to this. Here we go. Yeah, we've got some. We can blow up some pictures here. So that's.
If anyone's worried about learning the depths of these cards, I have a whole channel on this stuff.
Oh yes,
and if it's successful, I'll be producing an entire series to tell you exactly what's in these cards, what was in it before, and what I've put in there extra.
I'm not sure if I've put your YouTube channel in the show notes. So what's the handle people can find you on YouTube?
It's currently Ryan71111 on YouTube. I'll just type in Ryan7 on YouTube. I'm the first one that pops up.
You'll come up with all our videos.
Yeah. It's true. However, somebody tried to get into my account and scrambled everything up, so it might be a dead channel. But we'll see.
We'll find out tomorrow, hopefully, won't we? Whether it can be recovered.
Yes.
I really hope it does for you. I like oh gosh, that's spectacular, the priestess card. Look at that moon. I'm getting visions of sin. You know, the old god. The old god.
Not the activity.
Akkadian.
Yes.
Akkadian god. Yes, beautiful. God. Beautiful. Moon god, yes. Oh, we've had that card already tonight. That was the last card I drew. Was the Empress card.
Beautiful lady. There's the Emperor.
He's a fiery guy.
Archetype,
yeah, fire. Oh, we've had him tonight as well.
Hierophant as well.
Hierophant.
Who's lovers. Le lover. It's two people around. So the world's been flipped, as it were. Like it's being viewed through a 360-degree camera.
Wow. It's amazing.
So we can see that plate.
So you were talking about the chariot card before.
So we can see that plate over his belly. That's the chalice or the grail or the charger or the lower dantian or the tanden or center of gravity, call it what you will. That's in there. There's lots of symbology. And that was one of the few cards that I read it in its entirety. I loved the original, but it was very dark and I needed something in the daylight.
I like we've got the green bull, the earthy bull, and then the fiery. Leo's a fire sign, isn't he?
Yep.
The fiery lion there. And what's the air? Is that
So that's an eagle. That's actually a water sign because it is Scorpio. And it's he knows his stuff.
Well, Scorpio, eagles and scorpions are interchangeable, aren't they?
Yes, because
symbolism.
Yeah. Aquila is one of the deacons of Scorpio, and for Catholics and Christians and similar, they don't really want a scorpion there because of its evil attributes, so they just use a higher deacon. Plus, Scorpio's the one sign that has 3 levels to it. It's got a scorpion, a snake, and an eagle. It's really the scorpion is your genitals itself, the snakes, the energy going up the spine, and the eagles that your brain on top, which if you sliced it up would look like a bird.
You mentioned the scorpion, the snake, and the eagle. Those two, the snake and the eagle, are often compounded. So you have the eagle with the snake
Catching
in his
talons. It's a very powerful symbol. That if you meditate on that for a while, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? It's the power of the mind to overcome the body's urges.
Wonderful. I love that card. That's fantastic.
And it's Hannibal Smith, if you look close.
Hannibal Smith from the 80s.
Yeah, because he's got a cigar in his mouth and it's Hannibal's face and he loves it when a plan comes together. And what's in his hand?
A flag?
A plan. Oh, he's got a flag in one hand.
Oh, what's in the other hand?
A plan in the other.
His plan. Right, got you. Superb. Oh, the champion.
That's Medea stroke Semiramis, which is this ancient wild priestess archetype.
What's the traditional name for this card?
Strength or
Strength.
The force, it's often called. It's literally talking about that energy that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
The sexual force. It's called fortitude as well sometimes.
And it must be a fire card, is it?
Yes.
She looks like she's holding some sort of hand grenade.
She's holding the Grail cup, which in this, when it's Medea, and when you go that far back, the Grail cup is her vagina. And she's been basically taking drugs and pumping them out of her own body. This was the priestess tradition a long time ago in certain parts of Greece.
Right, yeah, we're talking about like the Pythia.
Yeah.
Who knows what really went on in these? This thing is sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
You know.
I think if you want to know into that stuff and you're willing to put quite a few hours into it, Ammon Hillman.
Oh.
Who I think I'm on with on the weekend.
Wow. He's what's the word? Let me think of the best word. He's he's left me now. As an orator, there's something about him. He's not intoxicating.
Yeah.
He has some sort of charisma.
Yeah, it seems to come from that evangelic tradition to me, the way he speaks. I find him very much like...
Is he from the South?
I'm not sure where he's from. He sounds middle America.
Mid-America, yeah. Fly over.
He's got this kind of to his, you know, and he was...
compelling.
Yeah, he was a
That's
lecturer.
The word I was looking for.
He was a lecturer at university, so he's had lots of... And because he's a mystic, he speaks sideways a lot of the time. So whereas I'll give you the information as clearly as I can put it, he's talking sideways, but he'll give you an answer by referring to something else. But when you go and listen to talking about something else, he'll be talking about something else. So it's
lateral.
It's very lateral.
Yeah. He the one thing I would say, he is incredibly compelling, but when he does talk, I always think of Christopher Walken.
Really?
Because he has this really unusual speech pattern.
Yeah.
In his intonation and how he pronounces words.
Yeah.
And it just makes me smile because I think it
but
sounds
that adds
like
to it,
Christopher
doesn't it?
Walken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm the Walken man. Let's move on. Strength.
Interesting chat. Really blisteringly smart.
Yeah. The Hermit.
Le Hermite.
He's there. He's got like a caduceus looking thing up at the top there.
Yeah, again, a reference to the spine and the energy going up the spine.
Yeah, the sacral fluids.
That's the one.
Ooh, the Wheel of Fortune.
The Wheel of Fortune, very deep. That contains all these pole star secrets that I keep going on about.
I would say, from what my limited knowledge of the tarot, this seems like the most astronomically
Well, it's
linked.
It's the whole of that ecliptic.
Yeah,
disc.
the whole sphere of the ecliptic.
That is the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah,
that is fate spinning around your head.
It's wonderful. What's next? Oh,
Justice. We need a bit more of that in Britain again. Lady Law. The
did we have that one before? No, it was.
She was the one that inspired me to do all the double cards on the court cards. So as I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, it's a good idea to use that in the, all the court cards that were doubled up with a good and a bad.
Right. In your normal tarot, it's just the Justice card.
No,
it's
not even that.
Oh, is it not?
Yeah, no. I mean, I've stuck to the tradition, but felt free to change the symbols and order as I wanted to.
There's a hangman. Is that you?
Hangman? No. Looks like you somewhat.
Bit of mushroom symbology in there for good measure. Oh, death.
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, wow.
Doing the dance of death. No one escapes the dance of death.
Is he flying a scythe like a broomstick?
He's kind of holding it like that, but he's also holding it like it's his penis.
Of course.
And like it's a guitar as
Yep.
well. It's several things. And it's a scorpion sting as well.
Temperance.
This is the alchemist.
We've got a Sephiroth there.
Yeah, that is the Tree of Life, as I was talking about before. And
From the Kabbalah.
yes, and he is playing about with them essentially and trying to temper, like he would temper a sword, trying to temper himself.
The alchemist of the opposites.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Temperance. What a great card.
Yeah, it's one of my faves, that.
Yeah.
And he's actually, his face, don't tell anybody this, is a famous guitarist that did Layla. What's his name?
Clapton.
Eric Clapton. But I've given him boobs and I put makeup on him because he's a bit of a... He's a transsexual in not a transsexual. He's a transsexual in that his left and right brain are kind of swapping jobs. He's playing with the opposites, is what he's doing.
Wow. We'll just rip through because
we're
we're running out of time.
The Devil.
Oh,
Cracking card.
I like that.
That's the tower. That's the one. It's all over.
Wow, that's
Card in the whole deck.
an unusual. I like your interpretation there.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the classic tower card, which has a very distinct sort of.
Yeah.
But that's like you've flipped it completely.
Yeah.
Completely ripped it up and started again from scratch, which is great. Wonderful. Yeah, he's fallen off. He's fallen off the tower.
There's no iconography that isn't correct though, and I've gotten down to what these cards are more than most people. Like, no one's going to tell you what constellation the tower is, but I can tell you now, as the Hanged Man, nobody knows either, is Cygnus. This is Ophiuchus. And the other tower, when you hear the two towers in all the Western stories, Lord of the Rings, for example, or the famous two towers of 9/11, those two towers are two guard houses between a secret path in the constellations, between the constellations that follows the Milky Way. It's between the Silver Gate, where souls enter, and the Golden Gate, where gods leave mortality.
Yep.
One of the towers is Orion, and the other tower is Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus and Orion look quite similar when you look at them in the sky.
They do, and Ophiuchus has often depicted with a snake around his shoulders.
And so this has a snake. It's difficult to see because the light shine out, but that building has a snake wrapped around it, a stone snake.
Wonderful. Like that. Oh, gosh, that's stunning.
Yeah, my fave card.
The star.
The star. Oh, this is about so many things. It's a portal. She opens portals.
Wonderful. That looks fantastic.
Yes,
I love that. I'd like that in like A2. I'd just,
Well,
forget the tarot stuff. It just looks great.
Well, we'll get you one of those, Phil. No, I'm serious.
The moon. Oh, we've got the wolfies. Wolfies there howling at the moon. Is that the crab of Cancer?
Kind of thing. It's like a lobster. What are they called? My brain's just gone. But it's a creature that can breathe on the land and in the ocean. And
Got you.
It's called crayfish.
Crayfish. Got you. Wonderful.
Bringing that card's about the layers of psyche. That's the pool of the unconscious, and then the most primitive creature. I mean, to the ancients, the most primitive creatures came from the sea. So it's a primitive function of the brain that draws things up from the unconscious into the subconscious here, and all the layers of this image, including the background itself and the wolves and the two towers again in the background. They're all these layers of the subconscious. The two towers, for example, are constructs of the subconscious, man-made constructs of that you've made over your life, or maybe your parents made them. The two wolves is the uninhibited parts of the subconscious that are just animalistic, your urges, for example. One's a werewolf and the other one's a dog, but he's got a collar on. He's tamed. One's domesticated. the background itself, those two cliffs that they're on, are also parts of the subconscious.
Right. Wonderful. Let's go. A couple more to have a look at.
This is the consciousness and
the sun.
Yeah, there's a big secret in this one, and that is basically about the nature of sacrifice. Not necessarily magical sacrifice in a ritual, but sacrifice as in what the masculine archetype does. Excuse me, what the masculine archetype does to move things on.
Right. And he's that little dude there in the sun's got his little stigmatas as well.
Yep.
And the hands, feet, belly, and head.
Mm-hmm.
Just a coincidence, I guess.
Just a small coincidence.
The sun.
Being in
the
a
sun
crucifixial,
card.
yeah.
No, I think it's someone else, known for being a son who...
The Son of God.
Yeah, I've just deleted a doc by accident. Which doc would it be? Is it transitions? Oh, no. What a regrettable mistake. I was going to say something else then.
What a mistake did I make?
Yeah. Why can't I see my sources? Doc, sources I need to see. Where is it? Where's it gone?
Sources.
Have I just minimised it by accident?
I don't know.
I wonder if Control Z works.
No.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
That can be a good place to end it.
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah.
I've broken our software.
Yeah. The cards get a little more ethereal as you go down, and the last few cards, the last two cards we saw, and the next few cards are kind of the European Enlightenment tradition.
Oh, nice.
Is what you were sending to.
Wonderful. Well, Ryan, there's nothing else to say, but thank you very much. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome, and thanks for having me. I'm really grateful for you putting me on at the last minute and on a Tuesday.
Anytime. It's been great fun. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the reading and everything, and listening to your knowledge, spitting your esoteric wisdom all over the place.
I clean it up.
Links in the show notes. Sign up to the Kickstarter. I want my wand.
Yes, I thought that might be you.
You spotted me. Yeah, I want a wand. For in here, mainly. So I can cast spells at Matt and Ben.
Cool. Jab him in the eye with it as well. Because he's got red on the end.
His eyes. Yeah.
Because they got red on the end. The blood, it won't make any difference. It'll add to it.
No one would know.
Yeah. No. But they won't be able to see anyway.
Be blind like Lady Justice. Right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone at home. Hope you enjoyed this. And we'll see you on Sunday for another podcast.
And I'll see you on Sunday on another podcast.
Oh, you do one on Sunday?
I'm doing the Olympics. I'm decoding the Olympics with Dr. Hillman, Gnostic, Informant, Snappy, and Dion.
Oh! There's some heavyweights.
Yeah. Dion's been putting a bit of weight on. He's not. He's lithe and beautiful.
Right. Well, thanks, folks. See you Sunday. Sayonara.
Go Power.